Now, scientists at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology are warning regular consumers of watermelon of adverse health effect from banned pesticides. The findings published in the journal Scientific Reports found unacceptable levels of the pesticides residues like DDT in some of the fruit on the market in the Ashanti region. JoyNews' medical correspondent Dr. Netta Prasram reports.
A group of pesticides known as organochlorines, which DDT and HCH form a part of, are banned for agricultural use. However, developing countries such as Ghana continue to use them.
Probably because of the organochlorine pesticides that have been banned and are still in use. And if you look at fruits, they are not the type of things that we cook before eating. We take them as we consume them as we find them. The only thing probably that we do is to wash them. And these persistent organic pesticides, the organochlorine pesticides, have effect on human beings, harmful effect. They are poisonous, they have a tendency to cause cancer, and for which reason this particular project was something that was of necessity. And so we wanted not only to look at what happens in the market, because we know that people bring their wares from the farms to the market to sell. We were looking at what happens on the farm.
The scientists wanted to assess the levels of organochlorine residues in fruits and determine the potential risk associated with exposure to these pesticides. For the study, the researchers used 120 fruits from 5 communities in the Mampong municipality of the Ashanti region.
All these are communities where they are doing extensive farming into fruits and fruits mainly. And we looked at 3 of them: banana, pineapple, and watermelon, which is very much consumed. All these 3 are consumed by a lot of people on a daily basis. So we looked at the possible risk associated with these consumptions, and we realized that for most of these fruits, the risk of consumption was low for both infants and adults. But then for watermelon, the risk of consumption for adults was low, whereas that for infants was alarmingly high. I would say alarmingly high because the factor that we got was far greater than 1, which means that it is alarming. Also, when we looked at the carcinogenic risk, we also realized that the children are at a risk of having cancer by consuming watermelon because of the level of organochlorine pesticide that was found on it. We didn't see the same for the other 2 fruits that we looked at, which is pineapple and banana.
The scientists are therefore calling for regular monitoring of pesticide levels in fruits in order to protect consumer health. Reporting for JoyNews, Dr. Netta Prasram.
We'll broaden this particular discussion later on, but moving on to other stories. This week, beneficiaries under the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty program are expected to receive twice their bi-monthly allowance after 6 months of delayed payment. According to the Secretariat, 344,786 beneficiaries will be paid the 75th and 76th cycle of the grant starting 18th April 2022. The Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty (LEAP) program has been fraught with consistent delays and thereby affecting the living conditions of beneficiaries. The wake of the global COVID-19 pandemic is believed to have also had some far-reaching impact on the program, which is heavily dependent on donor support. I'm sure you're yearning to know how beneficiaries have been coping in the last 5 months without the allowance and what difference the ongoing payment would make in their lives. Well, Head of the LEAP Management Secretariat, Mr. Miles Ongo, is my guest for all the answers today. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. Good morning.
Thank you.
Now,
thank you.
What caused
Thanks
the
for
delay?
having me.
Grateful to you. What caused the delay of the distribution of the funds in the last 5 months?
The delay happened because there were certain processes we needed to follow, and we've gone through all that, and government had to make some releases for that to be done. And normally when we delay in paying, we make sure that we do some combined payment. So we try as much as possible not to be in arrears. And so as you've seen and as indicated in the write-up, we are going to do a combined payment of 75th, 76th cycle payment. These were delayed, but we're sure that once we combine this for them, beneficiaries will be able to use it and engage in several things that will promote their well-being.
What sort of processes are these that has caused have caused the delay in the release of funds to beneficiaries?
So delay in funds really, and I must correct that government of Ghana large, about 70% is government money, it's not donor support. And so we must give them that credit. And they are committed in trying to ensure that we get regular money to pay our beneficiaries. As you are aware, our objective is to make regular bi-monthly payment. We are sad when we don't do that. And of course, we rely on government to make available money. And so once it's delayed, we know that they are trying hard to do or to make available the money. So yes, there are several processes, but the bottom line is that we've been able to get the money to make payment for the 75th, 76th cycle payment. Thank you.
How many people are on the program now as we speak?
As we have about the lead program pays household about 334,786 households, but translated to individuals, is well over 1.5 million individuals.
Now,
Yes.
how much is this grant which are distributed on bi-monthly basis then?
So the grant is not evenly distributed. One member household, eligible member household, gets 64 Ghana cedis. 2 member is 76. 3 member is 88, and then 4 and above is 106. Remember that the LEAD program is focused on reducing extreme poverty. And once we do our mean testing and realize that your household is extremely poor, there ought to be presence of vulnerability. In that case, you are looking at orphans and vulnerable children, you are looking at severely disabled without the capacity to work. We have older people without any support, and pregnant and lactating mother. These are what we call vulnerable members. And so if the household is even extremely poor and these vulnerable groups are not there or are not, the household will not be eligible. So this is it. So, but 1 member household is 64, and then 2 members 76, 3 88, and 4 and above is 106 Ghana cedis by month.
So these monies are given to the individual or the households, the 76 and something you're mentioning?
Yes, so the individual is from household and is expected to smoothen their consumption. And so it's expected that when you receive the money, it should be used in the household. So your children will benefit from whatever amount you receive. You are not to use the money to go buy clothing or anything. It is meant to ensure that you have some good meals, you are able to take your children to school and all of that. Yeah. So it's for the household.
So if there are 4 people, you multiply the figure by the 4 for you to get how much you are supposed to give the household, right?
That really is not the calculation. So you notice that the 1 member household and from a 64, and then 2 members 76. It's not like multiplying by, if you're 64, you multiply by 2, then we'll be looking at 120 something, but that is not it. So it's just some calculation that goes into it. At the time, we're looking at the consumption of the household. I mean, there are standards elsewhere we looked at to ensure that we come out with these calculations for in a 1 member, 2, 3, and 4 and above. But we don't simply add it. So if you are 1 member, we add another 64. That is not it.
Oh, okay. Because if someone is listening or watching and wants to really get the understanding of how you do your calculation and how much you have to give, the person might want to say, okay, if it's a 2 member, then this is how much we are adding. We are adding up But if you don't do it like that and you only give 76 Ghana cedi or 80 something, I mean, what informed that particular amount you're giving?
So, as I indicated, the amount for the household was based on, if it's one member, the international practice was that 20% of that should be the consumption of a household. I mean, the consumption of household consumption. And that was the calculation that was done at the time. And so you don't have to simple add. So even if it's two members that you've taken 78, again, it will meet this 20% that we're talking about. And remember that this huge amount of money, and as you are aware, every cycle we pay not less than 27 million Ghana cedis. If we were to simple add it, you will probably be talking about 100 million per cycle. And you also notice that, I mean, it's not easy to come by money. And so what we often strive to do is to make sure that the value of the grant do not go down. But you cannot simple add and continue to add such that you are paying over 300 Ghana per household. No.
As you rightly said, it's hard to come by money. What other strategic things are we looking at to raise money so that these sort of regular, non-payment or non-release of these funds will end?
Yeah, so we are having a conversation, and the Social Protection Director is championing that. There have been some other studies from academia, and people have been tasked to look at what dedicated funding can we have, just so that for the LEAP program alone and other social protection interventions. But more importantly, the LEAP program that has come to stay and that has gained the commitment of all governments. What can we do? Are we going to tax? Are we going to save 5% from our oil money? There are a lot of discussions, and people are looking to what other monies we can get from other places dedicated for the LEAP grants, so that there will not be delays.
Well, in the lead up to this particular discussion, I was reading around and I realized that research on poverty reduction in Upper West Region, Ghana, and the role of the Livelihood and Empowerment Against Poverty program in 2019 recommended that LEAP targeting must be based on the Ghana National Household Registry database to eliminate inclusion errors. Has this been addressed, and how exactly have you done this?
Yeah, so you have to keep in mind that the LEAP started long before GNHR. And so GNHR, Ghana National Household Registry, have completed their data collection in the 5 regions of the north. As it stands now, the LEAP program has, over the years, expanded a little. Our hope is to meet about 350,000 households. And the last expansion, I must say that we relied on GNHR data for the Upper West and Upper East region to do the expansion. Currently, we are hoping to, we've gotten some data from them, and we are trying to validate and make up to the 350,000. So we are validating within the communities to be sure that the data is authentic. Not it's authentic, but to be sure that, over time, people can migrate. They got you 1 year ago, but you could move and all that. So we are validating it to make sure we hit the 350,000 households. Again, the LEAP program is interested in reassessing. And so to reassess, we want to leverage on the GNHR data. And so we are committed to piloting this reassessment in the 5 regions of the north, where GNHR has completed data collection. And that probably the pilot and we'll learn lessons from them and from the pilot.
So how is this process of validation being done? I mean, if I am in that part of the country and you are validating to see whether I qualify to be part of it, what exactly is it that your men are doing on the field so we can keep track of it?
So, for instance, if GNHR says Kobina and from this household and Kojo from this household, we have our frontline workers who are working within all the districts. These are the district social welfare officers. I must commend them. They are doing a lot of work for us as we are paying. They are mobilizing our beneficiaries and ensuring that they are not shortchanged, they receive their money. So these very people would first of all together with the opinion leaders and community members, identify, first of all, that this person is from this extreme poor household, he lives in that poor household, there's a presence of vulnerability, and therefore the person is eligible to take the money.
Well, there's been lots of proposals and effort to expand the program over the years, and you've spoken to what is being done up there. To what extent has this been successful or not?
So again, this is just what I just finished talking about, because I remember somewhere last year we were paying about 332,000 households, and we are now paying about 344. You can see that we have moved on a bit, but it's because of this process of validation, ensuring that we get very credible and to reduce the inclusion and exclusion error, that there's still a delay. Otherwise, we have been paying about 350,000 households. In every social protection program, you obviously would have some inclusion and exclusion error, but it must be minimal to make the program effective.
Well, so in your visit to these communities, what have you observed?
The impact of the leap is great. We've seen that a lot of our beneficiaries are so excited, and I must thank a number of studies have been conducted that points to the fact that the LEAP program is really touching the hearts of people, is really ensuring that people are integrated in the community, is ensuring that there's some livelihood for our beneficiaries. People who probably were ignored within the community are part of it now, and the survival is very good now. They can coexist with their friends and families and be able to put food on the table and all that. So yes, it's been some good news visiting some of these communities. And you also remember that we know that the poor often has multiple needs, and because of that, there are some linkages that we introduce to make sure that these people don't rely only on the amount of money they take as grant here.
Well, once we know this program is heavily reliant on donor, what?
I think I corrected that.
Okay.
So that I said that government of Ghana really contribute about 70%.
Okay.
70%. So it's not.
Do I get the impression then that there's no more that donor agencies can do to help?
They are trying. You can remember that the current payment really was supported by UNICEF. UNICEF facilities the reason why we are going to make this payment. And UNICEF really have tried hard, and they've contributed in several ways to make this program better. As we speak, our e-reporting was supported by UNICEF so that monitoring is done real time. Our MIS systems is strengthened by UNICEF, and other consultants are working with us, and they are more concerned for the program. And so WFP is also trying to help us in our bid to do this reassessment. World Bank already has demonstrated their support for the program. So donor support cannot be overlooked at all.
When it comes to this District Assembly Common Fund, there is a part of it for fiscally challenged people. What I know for some districts, what some districts started doing were that they were rather procuring things that could set them up than to give money directly to them, so that it doesn't look as though without that support, then their lives become, in quotes, some things that we don't want to talk about. What strategic things do you think you can also do to ensure that we move from the hand to mouth than probably setting them up so we can sustainably manage this fund?
Yeah, so so we are doing a lot, and I know that this new liberal approaches probably cannot work fully as long as the LEAP program is concerned. We are aware that even if we give some of those people machines, as you've seen and shown, to work, it probably will not work. You know, there's people like that, older people, 65 years and above, without support, nothing is getting to the family. I don't think a sewing machine would help such a person. And so we have to continue to make sure they live as like human beings, they get the support till God calls them. We're also aware that some severely disabled people can simply not just work, so we have to help them. But those that can work, really, we introduce some nudges. We argue that you should be able to put aside some of the money, no matter how small that is, to be able to engage in some productive inclusion. And I can tell you there are a lot of success stories of our beneficiaries who are doing petty trading, others are into some productive inclusion and what have you. All we need to do is support them with more funding to make sure that they improve on their business, their productive inclusion. We also work together with the labor-intensive public work. It's all under the Ghana Productive Safety Net project. And so we ask that while they introduce the labor-intensive public work in the communities, they must prioritize LEAP communities. So there probably is an able-bodied person within the household who can come and do that labor and get some money to still support the household. Okay. We also have the productive inclusion where they are into soap making and all that, training them. So they've also tried to prioritize the LEAP household. So we're doing all that to make sure that, of course, people have moved, or our beneficiaries really leapfrog poverty. But I must tell you, there are others that cannot leapfrog, as you've seen. So we must continue to give them that support, that help. And social protection across the globe, they are doing that, not just here. If you look at sub-Saharan Africa, we are even behind. And even countries where their GDP is high, they've introduced social protection. And so we just have to do more and improve the system.
What about children and orphans? How are these category of people also captured under the program? And how many do you have as of now?
So they fall under the vulnerability group. They fall under the vulnerability group. So we have about orphans and vulnerable children, about 362,572 orphans and vulnerable children in the program, individuals.
Okay. Now, to what extent has you've mentioned about how lives are being changed with this program? Is it only about where we are focusing, or when we look at the program in its entirety throughout the country? How are the stories like?
So the stories are good, but I must say, because I'm here, you think that probably we are blowing our own trumpet. But there are studies. Imani did some study not too long ago. You may want to look at it. University of North Carolina and Easter, there are several studies that points to the fact that we did some midline evaluation and all that. Those all are success stories. And our own reports, going to the field and listening to the beneficiaries, tell us how they are happy about the money they receive, no matter how small it is. It's our prayer that we would increase the money going forward. Okay. And we are also committed to make sure that we reassess again, because a program of this nature over this period of time has not been reassessed. We are committed now as a ministry, and I want to thank the Minister of Gender, Children, Social Protection, and our Chief Director for all the support that they are giving. Recently, we met with the Parliamentary Select Committee on Social Protection, Gender, and they helped us to enrich the roadmap towards this reassessment. So we thank all of them, and we continue to work to ensure that these vulnerable people are paid timely and ensure that their well-being is ensured. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Ongo there. So Miles Ongo is the head of the LEAP Secretariat. Thanks very much to him for joining us. Moving on to other stories. The mayor of the Tamale Metropolitan Assembly, Sule Salifu, has indicated the resolve of the Assembly to strictly enforce bylaws to ward off traders plying their trade around the interchange after decongestion to move. The Tamale Metropolitan Assembly, before the commissioning of the interchange, embarked on a decongestion exercise and moved the traders to the Kokuo market, another satellite market in the city. But the traders have returned to the street. Speaking to a stakeholder engagement at the Assembly, Mr. Sule Salifu said the Assembly's last resort will be to use the law enforcement agencies to get the place sanitized. Martina Bugri has more in this report.
The Tamale Metropolitan Assembly, before the commissioning of the Tamale interchange, embarked on a decongestion exercise and moved the traders to the Kuko market and other satellite markets in the city. But the traders have relocated back on the street. Speaking at a stakeholder engagement at the assembly, Mr. Sule Salifu said the assembly's last resort is to use the law enforcement agencies to get the place sanitized.
We think that engaging stakeholders in this enterprise is much more results oriented than moving force. That the assembly, the GPRT, the LTTT, the Road Safety Commission will not hesitate to use the law enforcement agencies to get the place sanitized. This could be a last resort that we should call for.
The Northern Regional Commander of the Motor Traffic and Transport Department, Chief Superintendent Mahmoud Yusuf, told the stakeholders trading on the street, placing injurious substances on the road which can cause accidents, were punishable by the law.
Causing danger to road users. How do you cause danger to road users? Like the first one, trading, placing injurious substances on the road. You cause danger to the road if you block any part of it. The roads are made for free flow of traffic, vehicle moving, no impeding. But if you place anything on the road, that is likely to cause accident, likely to cause injury to any other person. It is against the regulation. And with this one too, you can go to jail for up to 3 months, 1 month. You can equally be fined for a period for 30 days, for 50 penalty units or 25 penalty.
The Northern Regional Director of the Road Safety Commission, Mohammed Abdul Samed, bemoaned the culture of people running to opinion leaders and chiefs when they are found culpable of the law.
You go out there, you see billboards all over the place, obstructing the view of motorists, causing accidents left, right. And someone has to see to it that the right thing is done. But do we allow them to do their work? The laws are there. The slightest thing, you are running to a chief, you are running to a malam, you are running to a pastor. Pastor calls him, he respects them, he sees himself as their son. So it becomes very difficult. You try to explain, hey, no, I just want it this way. We should not live like that. Let's be fair to ourselves. Let's live as people who want to have peace. You know, you cannot have peace if you have a loved one lying at the hospital because of road traffic.
So we'll take a quick break. We will return with more news. So welcome back from that break. Let me take you to our earlier story where scientists at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, KNUST, are warning regular consumers of watermelon of adverse health effect from banned pesticides. Now, let's broaden this discussion and speak to an agronomist who is with the Crop Science Department, the School of Agriculture, University of Cape Coast, Dr. Kusi, who has joined us on Zoom to have this particular discussion. Doc, if you can hear me, good morning to you, and thanks very much for your time. Now, how widespread is this whole practice of some farmers, not all farmers anyway, some farmers using unapproved chemicals as pesticides?
Thank you, and then thank you for inviting me for this. And in fact, if we are to give actual data, we might not be able to get it because data hasn't been put together for the whole country. But we must say that it is widespread. The little research we have done shows that almost every region in Ghana where they cultivate crops, they use a lot of chemicals. Right from land preparation to post-harvest handling, they use a lot of chemicals. And some of them are banned. The others that are not banned, the way they use it is sometimes very critical.
Well, Doc, but if they are banned, for example, if we are sticking to those that are banned, for example, DDT, I remember it was banned in the 90s, if I'm right. Why are we still having these banned chemicals on the market?
This is a huge question, and all of us need to find answers to. I think in 2001, there was a research we did, and we realized that farmers we interviewed in Accra and some parts of Kumasi were using lindane or DDT. And when you ask them where they got it from, in fact, most of them didn't want to tell you because they knew that that chemical was banned. You ask them why they were using it, I think the answers they were giving were that when they use the chemicals in agro shops, it doesn't work for them. But the DDT, the lindane, works perfectly for them. But most of them smuggle it through the borders, from Ivory Coast to Burkina Faso to the borders of Ghana. People smuggle these chemicals in there. There are some chemicals that are being sold at the agro shops, and sometimes you realize that if you read on the ingredients over there, you realize that why is the person in charge or the authority in charge, whether it is FDA, it is whoever is supposed to be checking, is not checking. Why are they there? Why are we using it? This is something that we must take a critical look at, because let me give you an example. If you have some time, let me give you an example. We went to some farmers to interview them, and we realized that the farmer was a cabbage farmer, and his produce were looking so nice, so beautiful. We asked, why are your produce like that? But the nearby farms are having challenges. He said somebody recommended a chemical for him. He said, okay, can you bring the chemical for us so that we can also recommend for other farmers to use? When he got it, it was Cocoa Akate Master. Cocoa Akate Master on cabbage, which is sometimes eaten raw in salad. And this farmer is using it. Those who are pharmaceutical, those who prepare drugs for us to buy in drugstores and pharmacies, they are checked. Sometimes you see FDA and other authorities going there to check. My question is, when the farmer produces these crops, who checks it? Who will check it at the market, even at the farm? Nobody checks. So we are eating things we are not aware of. If you realize so many diseases that are relating to food poisoning are high these days, and mostly because of these chemicals that are used at the production level. So it is very critical that whoever is in charge, whether it's FDA or MOFA or whoever, we should put our foot down and then say that no, this is what we want to do as a nation. Other than that, before you realize everybody is getting sick and we are reducing in number because of what we are eating.
All right. There's more I would want to discuss with you. I'm sure we can have a broader discussion on this because, like you say, it's widespread and that should put some fear in all of us. Thank you very much for your time. We'll still come back to you at an appropriate time for us to have a broader discussion. That's Dr. Kusi, who is with the School of Agriculture, University of Cape Coast. But moving on, scores of people are stranded at the Registrar General's Department as a strike initiated by members of CLOCSAG enters day one. Many of these people are disappointed and have to return home after realizing they won't be able to complete any work at the office. Let's go live to my colleague Michael Papani Ashley for more. Michael, thanks very much. Describe the current situation there for us.
So, Brace, as is with most strikes, usually for people who patronize the Registrar General's Department here, they're quite disappointed having to come only to realize just this morning that other people they are here to really complete their businesses are not at post because of the strike. And for them at the receiving end of this strike, are definitely disappointed. Earlier I spoke to a gentleman who came all the way from Tamale to register his business. He had to go back home today. And you can see from the back that a lot of people keep on coming by the day. We'll try to get closer to some of them and find out what businesses they were here to do. For the registration department, you do quite a number of things. You register marriages. Some people are here to register their businesses. Others are here to take some monies as well, the estate monies and all that. So we'll try to find out for some of these people what exactly they are here to do and how they feel after finding that the folks here, the civil servants that work in this department are not working. Bossman, good morning. Are you here to do business?
No, I'm not here.
I'm not here to business. What exactly are you here to do?
I'm coming to check on my friend. I'm coming to visit someone.
Okay. And the person is a civil servant?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay, so thank you very much for that. So at the moment, there's not yet a notice on the main entrance of the Registrar General's Department indicating that there's a strike. But some of the people who have come here have had to be turned away after being announced to them that some of the civil servants here, most of them are not working here. So you can see that some people keep coming. And go, let me get closer to this gentleman. Bossman, good morning. Are you here to do something?
Yeah, I'm a trademark agent. I'm here to come and pay my trademarks. But they said they're on strike, so they're not working. Yeah.
I see. But when did you find out? What time did you come here?
Right now, about 5 minutes ago.
Well, how does that make you feel that you come all the way from your home only to realize that they're not working?
Oh, that is bad. At least they should give the customers a notice so that we not just spend our time and come here to come and do these things.
I mean, how important was the trademark that you were coming to pick up from here to you, and how would it right now impact the business that you were doing?
Yesterday, I came yesterday, but the system wasn't all that good, so I left it to them so that today I'll come and pay. So even it is with them, they work on it, and I'll come and pay at the bank so that the client also will get their receipt. And also, when I came, it's bad. It's bad.
So what do you do now?
I need to go to the office.
I see. I can only wish you well for another time. Yeah, let me speak to some other individuals. Bossman, good morning. What were you here to do?
I'm here to pick my business sets.
Business certificates. And what response have you been getting from them?
I heard there's a strike going on right now. Yeah.
So essentially they're asking you to go back home?
Yes, of course, we should go back home. That's what they're saying.
So the certificate that you paid already, right?
Yeah.
And there was an agreement they're supposed to come for it today?
Yes, please.
I want to. So right now, what is going to happen to you? Are you going to go back home?
Yeah, I need to go back home. That's all, yeah.
But how big of a deal is it for you they are not getting this certificate today?
Well, I need to meet an investor with this particular set so he believed that this is what I'm about to. So it's so much great. I mean, should I say lost or I'm confused at the moment, yeah.
But is this your first time coming to meet such a situation?
Here? Yeah. It is my first time, yeah.
I can only wish you well. Thank you very much for speaking to us. So, Brace, these two gentlemen are not the only people here. A lot of people have come here since morning and have been turned away because the civil servants at the Registrar General's Department are not working. And most of the people are here to renew their business. Some of them are here to register their businesses, among others. Just behind this main building here is folks who are doing marriage. They are registering their marriage. We'll try to get to them as well, but it's just happening here. But that particular office, just so I mentioned, that they are working. And the reason they've been giving me is that some of these people have to book in advance of 2 weeks in a minimum. So you book for 2 weeks. So the 2 weeks is today, and that they'll feel really disappointed that they'll turn this people around, especially because it's marriage. Just for today and a few days, they will be working. But what they tell me is that those who are here to book new appointments for their marriage, they will not allow them to go through that process. That's just far from here. So, Brace, that's the situation here. And I want to believe across some other ministries or places where we are likely to find civil servants that help people transact very important businesses. A couple of people also sitting there who are here definitely have to find their way back home, Brace.
Actually, there, bringing us a report of what's happening at the Registrar General's Department. We'll take a quick break and return with business.
Let's do some business news on News Desk with me, Beverly Broom. The Vice President of Costa Rica, FC Campbell Barr, has touted the tourism potential between Ghana and Costa Rica. Madam Campbell Barr, who was on a 5-day visit to Ghana, will tour sites in Cape Coast and Akwemu in the central and eastern regions to visit areas where slaves transported to the Caribbean. The following report has more.
Tourism has been a major foreign earner for Ghana for decades. Recently, the Ghana Investment Promotion Center and the Ghana Tourism Authority launched the Year of Return project to bring back Africans in the diaspora to Ghana. Afterwards, the government continued with the Beyond the Return initiative to make Ghana a tourist destination. As part of the initiative, the Vice President of Costa Rica, FC Campbell Barr, has visited Ghana to reconnect with Black history through tourism. Speaking to journalists in Accra shortly after arriving, Campbell Barr said there is a strong tourism connection between Ghana and the Costa Rican history.
The continent, but also to think in the future, what we can do together to build our countries and our people. And that's why I'm so excited to be here. My heart is, it is plenty of love, because I feel that I come back to my motherland as an African woman in the continent. We, with the government of Ghana, but also with the leaders here, women and men, we are trying to make a difference in our history.
A finance and management company, Aya Institute, is calling for proper sensitization of women in micro, small and medium enterprises on the opportunities of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area after. The call is among some of the recommendations from a study by the Institute, which assessed the potential of women-led MSMEs in Ghana to take advantage of AFTA.
The Aya Institute's research revealed that about 72% of traders and 54% of companies are unaware of the AFCFTA. A researcher with the Institute, Eunice Penyin Ofei, is urging the Secretariat and government to educate women-led MSMEs on the benefits they could derive from the pact.
There needs to be immediate sensitization, because this is a year after the commencement of the AFCFTA and people still don't know about it. That is presenting such opportunities to trade across Africa. So people need to know about it. And then also the financial assistance, the other major concern of this, that the government should provide financial assistance or make it favorable for these businesses to be able to access loans to fund their businesses, expand and then grow.
Marketing manager for the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Grace Jeble, advised women in MSMEs to consider collaborations to enable them access funds.
When you pool resources together, it is always better than one person standing. The challenge we have here in our part of the world is that people love to own 1%, 100% of a 100 CD business than to own 1% of $1 million business. It is very, very important that the women come together and pool their resources together so that they will be able to benefit from the synergies among themselves. What you are weak in, the other will be strong in that area. And like you said, it also gives you, it makes it easier for you to access funding.
Sector Chair for Agribusiness under the Association of Ghana Industries, Fatima Mohammed, outlined some initiatives her outfit is implementing to support women-led agribusinesses under AFCFTA.
At the Association of Ghana Industries, we have the wing in terms of women in business, and we work with various women sectors. So it's not only agriculture, so we look at the whole agro-processing angle. So from the farming side to the processing to packaging and branding. So we have a lot of interventions, workshops and conversations with them, because we are more on the policy side, and then we get them linked up to agencies like the GIZ and others where they come in and get support in terms of mechanization or training in terms of finance and whatever else that they need in that area.
The research assessing the potential of women-led MSMEs in Ghana to take advantage of AFCFTA was supported by the German Corporation, Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and the Association of Ghana Industries.
That'll be all for business. For more business stories, kindly log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Up next is sports.
Welcome back from the break there. And it's time for us to bring you sports. Muftau has joined me live in studio. Good morning, Muftau.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. I'm good. How are you too?
I'm good. Now, I hear the referee for the big clash, Ken Puddy, has been suspended. What are the details?
Well, the Ghana Football Association match review panel, he awarded what they described as a dubious penalty against Accra House of Oak. They felt that the referee could have done better. His decision to award a quarter-quarter penalty was what influenced the outcome of that match, and that he's supposed to be suspended for the rest of the football season. So it means that for the 9 matches left to be played in the Ghana Premier League, he's not going to officiate any of them. Per the statement released by the Ghana Football Association, the referee had argued that one of the defenders of Accra House of Oak had stepped on the attacking player of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. But after they gave him the video to watch, he rescinded that defense and said, okay, he had thought he stepped on the leg of the attacker, and that was why he took the decision. So he also sought to defend himself by claiming that even if Nuruddin did not step on Fabio Gama, there was a hand that he used to pull him. So he felt that that was a foul, but the committee felt that that defense too was flawed, and it was not good enough for him to award Kumasi Asante Kotoko a penalty. So he's been suspended for the rest of the football season. And what it means is that he's not going to be officiating matches anymore.
But since he didn't have the virtue of a replay or a review on the pitch, wasn't that supposed to have been?
That's actually an interesting argument that I've had this opinion for the last 7-8 years, that the consistent efforts of the match review panel to recommend to the additional committee to sanction referees, I feel is flawed. For instance, a referee have got a spare of the moment to take a decision. He doesn't have an opportunity of a replay. The match review panel will sit down and watch a tape. They've got an opportunity of replay before they arrive at the conclusion. So if you expect the referee to take decisions at the spare of a moment, and you sanction him after watching the video over and over again, I feel it's very unfair. Okay. But a quicker thing I just want to add is that the match review panel, per the regulations of the Ghana Football Association, they do not have the power to sanction anyone. Their duty is to recommend to the appropriate tribunal for the decision to be taken.
So are you saying they are wrong with this decision?
They were totally wrong. I don't know why the GFA Secretariat decided to release that statement claiming that the match review panel, it is only the additional committee of the GFA that can sanction anyone. Okay. The match review panel, they do not have such powers.
Thank you very much, Muftau.
Thanks for having me.
And that's all we have for you in this bulletin. We apologize we've not been able to bring you the South African story, but it will be up in our next bulletins. For more, log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. Have a great morning.